Sandro Marcos says Rodrigo Duterte's camp asked for control of key posts in exchange for endorsing his father, now President Bongbong Marcos, in 2022. The Marcos administration is asking for a 7.2 trillion peso national budget for 2027. DepEd says over 4,000 classrooms across the country are damaged due to Tropical Storm Maymay and the southwest monsoon. Meralco announces slightly lower electricity rates in August, while fuel prices are set for another rollback starting August 11. And the Ateneo men's basketball team is spared from suspension in the UAAP but faces a program reset. House Majority Leader Sandro Marcos says the camp of former President Rodrigo Duterte asked for control of key posts in exchange for endorsing his father, now President Bongbong Marcos, in 2022. Sandro Marcos says his father was summoned to Malacanang after seeking Duterte's endorsement during the campaign period for the 2022 elections. He says they were made to sit around and wait in the palace for about 2 hours before being ushered into the presidential guest house. Sandro Marcos says Duterte's camp asked, "What's your plan and what can you do for us?" Duterte's camp supposedly said they would support the Marcos presidential campaign if they would get to choose who would become Executive Secretary, House Speaker, Senate President, Cabinet Secretaries, among other demands. But Rodrigo Duterte himself never endorsed Bongbong Marcos for president. He even called the dictator's son a weak leader and a spoiled child. Duterte instead endorsed the presidential bid of his loyal aide, Senator Bongo, who later withdrew from the race. Duterte was said to have been dismayed when his daughter, then Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte, slid down to run as Marcos's vice president. The Marcos administration seeks a 7.2 trillion peso national budget for 2027, the president's last full year in office and the year before the 2028 elections. Department of Budget and Management Acting Secretary Kim Robert De Leon formally submits the proposed 2027 National Expenditure Program to President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. on Monday, August 10. The proposed budget is about 7.8% higher than the 6.67 trillion peso 2026 NEP. The 2027 budget also comes a year after the government was rocked by a flood control corruption scandal. The proposed 7.2 trillion peso budget is equivalent to 21.7% of the GDP. For 2027, the government projects 5.21 trillion pesos in revenues against 6.9 trillion pesos in spending, resulting in a projected 1.69 trillion peso deficit or 5.1% of the GDP. The 2027 NEP will be formally submitted to Congress on Tuesday, August 11. The Department of Education says as of 5 p.m. on August 10, over 4,000 classrooms across the country are damaged due to Tropical Storm Maymay and the southwest monsoon. Initial assessment shows more than 2,800 classrooms sustaining minor damage and more than 1,000 with major damage. More than 900 classrooms were considered totally damaged. These classrooms are located in 858 schools. The DepEd also reports widespread damage to thousands of learning materials and chairs and hundreds of IT equipment. Repairing mildly damaged classrooms alone would cost around 140 million pesos. Over 24 million pesos will be allocated for cleanup and clearing operations. 107 schools are currently used as evacuation centers, sheltering over 2,000 families in more than 380 classrooms. Meralco customers will see slightly lower electricity rates in August. State regulators ordered a multi-billion peso refund that will offset increases in several pass-through charges. Meralco says the overall rate for a typical household will decrease by 0.0428 peso per kilowatt hour. That brings the rate down from 14 pesos and 84 centavos per kilowatt hour in July to 14 pesos and 78 centavos per kilowatt hour in August. Meralco Vice President and Communications Chief Joe Zaldarriaga says this will result in a reduction of around 9 pesos for households consuming 200 kilowatt hours per month to be implemented over 6 months. The decrease comes largely from a 9.5 billion peso refund approved by the Energy Regulatory Commission. Meantime, fuel prices are set for another rollback starting Tuesday, August 11. This marks a second straight week of relief after the big fuel price hikes in late July. Energy Secretary Sharon Garin announces the following price rollbacks for the week of August 11 to 17. At least 4 pesos and 70 centavos per liter of gasoline, at least 4 pesos and 30 centavos per liter of diesel, and at least 4 pesos and 88 centavos per liter of kerosene. The Ateneo men's basketball team will play in UAAP Season 89, but the Blue Eagles program faces a reset. The UAAP spared Ateneo from a season suspension but imposed a perpetual ban on former head coach Tab Baldwin. Other coaching staff members are suspended from all UAAP competitions and related activities in any capacity until further notice from the board. This in relation to the deaths of basketball players Rene Baterbonia and Divine Adili. The UAAP notes government agencies that investigated the incident did not find liability in the student athletes present at the incident in Dipakulaw, Aurora. It adds, Baterbonia and Adili's teammates were also victims. To continue participating, the UAAP requires Ateneo to run a comprehensive reassessment of its organizational structure and the management of its men's basketball team. And that's today's wrap. I'm JC Gotinga. Thank you for watching. Click the link below for the full story. For more updates, download the wRap.